Welcome to Impact, where immigrants and Americans discuss America today. I'm your host, Pamela Anchan. On today's show, we will examine how Islamophobia and bigotry in America impact Muslim immigrants today. To discuss this important topic are two filmmakers who explore the challenges Muslims in America face through their latest work, Free Trip to Egypt. We have director Ingrid Serban, a Romanian-American award-winning film director and musician. We also have creator-producer Tarek Munib, born and raised in Canada to Egyptian parents. And finally, Natalie Biesnel, host, actor, and brand ambassador, born in Jamina, Chad, a predominantly Islamic country. This is a show not to be missed, so stay tuned with us on Impact. I'm your host, Pamela Angie. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
I want to say welcome, shout out to Miss Ingrid over there. Hi, Ingrid. Welcome to Impact.
Hi, Pamela. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Natalie.
Yes.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
It's about time. And Tarek, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Amazing. You're doing awesome work. So let's get to it, talk about how Muslim immigrants especially are impacted. I mean, it's one thing to be immigrant right now. It's always been that way, I think. But particularly now, it looks like it's even more challenging. And I want to say that in the Pew research that I read, a survey, it said 2/3 of Muslim Americans say they're dissatisfied with the way things are going in the United States today. I mean, we're talking about this 3/4 say the president, and I want to set this within context, that the President Trump, is unfriendly towards Muslims in America compared to when President Barack Obama or any other president was in office. People feel that the country is not headed in the right direction as far as the treatment of immigrants and particularly Muslim immigrants are concerned. Tarek, now you embarked on this project. I want you to tell me, what do you think? What's your impression?
Well, I think one of the points is that we're living in a society right now when we talk about one group, another group feels excluded.
There you go.
So I think we also have to be careful when we're talking immediately. For some reason, we're so defensive now. When we talk about Christian rights or Muslim rights, then another group is afraid.
Yes.
Right? And I think what we tried to do in the film is it wasn't a film about Islamophobia or Muslims.
Yes.
It was a film about human connection.
Okay.
Right? And as soon as we showed that we're just as much interested in learning about Trump supporters or Americans, they opened up to us as well.
Yes.
Right? So for me, I think it's really important that we don't just we change the question around.
Correct.
That we no longer look at one group as being the victim group.
Absolutely.
We have to just connect as human beings.
Absolutely. So Natalie,
Yes.
what do you think about what's currently going on now? Because I think the premise of the survey was people have always been defensive about their particular, whether it's their religion, their race, whatever it is.
Right.
But particularly now, are some groups of people feeling the heat? And, like this topic is about the Muslim community. Are they taking some heat and are they justified?
Isolationism is not a way of life. I think once you become an isolated group,
Yes.
there is usually a reason behind it. And I attribute that sometimes to the level of maturity.
Yes.
And when you want to break it down to faith, it's also how personally, your relationship with God has grown or where you
Absolutely.
are. Now, when you first meet someone, your first instinct is either resentment or compassion for
Yes.
that person. And typically, that's what sets, the way for a strong relationship. So today, I think we've come far.
Yes.
In the words of Kwame Nkrumah, I know that he said we're either, not going east or west, but we're going forward. So with the condition and the state of mind today, we've come a long way. I think we're doing well, with the movie that Tarek has done. But also in this room, there's it's such a diverse group. And that I know that growing up as a child, as an African diplomat's child, we never knew about differences between religion or culture. We're all one.
Correct.
And, it is said also that, if you go into something with a mind and a heart of a child, actually you tend to forget about some of the other major issues that
Correct.
come with separatism.
I'm going to defer to Ingrid because I really want a straight up answer.
Yeah.
Because you took on this project for a reason. I want to know. Tarek and Natalie have given me answers, but I'm not satisfied. I want to know, are Muslim Americans today more affected or feel the heat today more than, let's say, 8 years ago?
So the answer to that question would be yes.
Okay. Please, someone
Straight
speak up.
straight up answer.
Okay.
So that's the simple answer.
Yes.
And like Tarek said, I don't think we were looking to address a religious issue or a cultural discrepancy between,
Religions.
third generation Americans or first generation Americans.
Correct.
But and that's where I come in as a filmmaker and as a director, is to really, and what sort of makes me tick is to really look at a person beyond the color of their skin, their religion, their cultural conditioning, their education, all of that, and really go all the way to the heart.
Yes.
And that's what I tried to do in our film is, and it was a great and gigantic task, because we had a lot of people, a little bit of time, a lot going on. But so far, people who have seen the film said that they really felt that they could connect with the people on screen,
Yes.
even though they had different points of view, or they,
Yes.
they didn't agree with them, on their life choices, but
Absolutely.
they could really connect.
Yeah, I think people have become emboldened because prejudice doesn't just happen one day. So we can't really put this all on the shoulders of President Trump.
Yeah.
Right, Tarek?
No,
like you
no,
want to say
and-
something.
yeah, but
Yeah.
because this is what I think is important to say is you're right that the degree of racism
Yeah.
against blacks, against Muslims, against Mexicans has increased.
Yes.
Okay, that's clear. But what we typically do when we see violence or aggression against a certain group, we try to address it by trying to make this group more positive.
Correct.
And I'm saying that's the wrong approach.
All right.
The approach is to take away this group label,
Okay.
to stop thinking of ourselves as the Muslims or the Christians. You should not have to ask me what my religion is. We live in a secular society.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is the difference is that when we see racism against a group, the problem is the group identification.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to break.
Well, you're a bigger person because it's so hard. If someone is coming at you from some kind of bigoted perspective or prejudice, the tendency is to, defend yourself.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I felt in Switzerland.
Yes.
That when I was watching the news in 2016, I was starting to feel fear.
Correct.
And I was starting to feel fear of Americans, even though I grew up in North America.
Yeah.
And then I realized this isn't the person I want to become.
No.
Right? And then the idea came, why not approach those people?
Hey, if this is your first time visiting Team TV channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button here below and ring the notification bell so you will be notified when we post new content.
With something kind.
And show them.
No, not show them.
Okay. All right.
Approach those people with something kind
Yes.
and listen to them.
Okay. And understand them.
Right? And that was when the idea of the film came up. Right? And then when I came to American soil and I went across the country talking to people and just asking them how they felt about Muslims and Arabs, etc.
Yes.
It renewed my faith in humanity.
Yes.
Because now we had a human contact.
Yes.
And
So
that's
have
the
you ever
difference.
experienced that kind of discrimination of,
I have experienced discrimination as a child,
right?
but in the last maybe 20 years or so, I haven't personally experienced a lot of discrimination.
Right.
Right. So the discrimination that I've been fighting against isn't because of my own personal story.
Okay.
It's because I see people I love having these views against each other. So I identify with the American Canadian community. I identify with the Muslim community.
Yes.
And to see this misunderstanding, tears at my heart.
Right. So, Ingrid,
Yes.
I'll defer this to you. Regardless of what is going on, think about it. Tariq said something, we live in a secular society. Unless you actually profess it or you're wearing a turban or a hijab, nobody knows who you are. However, most Muslim Americans, because this was a survey, feel that most Americans or non-Muslim Americans do not see Islam as part of the mainstream. It's kind of like the other.
Right.
Do you agree?
It's an unfortunate reality because it just reminds me of one scene in our film where there's this man, he's an older veteran, I think, and he says, this is the last chance for America to be America. And again, we're hitting against this sort of need for identity and need for borders and for keeping oneself, for lack of a better word, pure.
Right.
So, I mean, 2 years ago, so I started working on this film with Tariq a little over 2 years ago. I think it was January 2016. And I knew very little. I mean, I had exposure to Arabic culture because I was born in Romania. So there's a bit of Turkish influence and there's Arabic influence as well.
Right.
But I really didn't know much about the religion. And I was raised Baptist. And that's almost as far as you can get away from
I know.
from Islam, right?
Yes.
I mean, in a sense,
Of course,
just culturally and what that branch of Christianity believes. So for me to go into making this film and go into Egypt and get to know, obviously, Tariq and everyone else has been a little bit of a homecoming. Because it reminds me that we really are the same.
Absolutely.
And that Islam, to me, and now that I've experienced aspects of it in a personal way and in a group, is really a reminder of peace and compassion.
That's very interesting. Natalie, talk about your experience growing up in Chad. Your country is predominantly Muslim. I mean, I was reading about the statistics. It's like maybe 90%. 98%
Yes.
Muslim.
Yeah.
And so to use mainstream, wasn't it? Tell me about you growing up and how your dad is a pastor.
My dad is a pastor. I grew up in Ghana.
Okay.
My dad was a diplomat in Ghana.
Okay.
But in our household, very much a strong Baptist family. Our next door neighbors, were a Muslim family. And growing up, I just attributed the languages within a certain cultural group to the religion.
Yes.
I thought because the kids next door spoke Hausa,
They must be
they were
Muslim.
Muslim.
I know. We assume that.
Until at church, I met a family that spoke Hausa,
See?
but we're a Christian family. But it didn't, it didn't register until later on in life as an adult that, there are different groups.
Absolutely.
But also, I think going to back to what Ingrid said actually, Islam and Christianism are very similar. The doctrine is different. And when you go down to the core of both religions, you notice that it's all about love and peace, like she said.
So, but then why aren't we spreading it?
Well, if you want to have an
We're afraid.
altruistic view on it,
Yes.
human beings are not as selfless as we tend to want to believe.
Absolutely.
And so we project our own fears, like Tariq was saying, and also our own insecurities when we meet people. And so to project, let's say, Christianism, even within Christianity, there's several different
You can
groups,
say against many different sects.
and they don't all get along.
Yes.
And if you want to bring it to America, the black church and the white church, even
I know you have a
within
Baptist church, and one is that's another thing. You have a Baptist church, but there's a black Baptist church, and there's a white Baptist church, or mainstream. I don't even know.
That's different.
As an immigrant,
Yeah.
I'm culturally shocked every day, even on that level as a Christian.
Yes.
I don't understand why they have this, but then you go to the roots of slavery and all of that, then you understand these things. You have to really understand where people are coming from.
Yeah.
You know,
we were Africans first before
That's
religion
true.
came. So
Absolutely.
tolerance is embedded in our DNA.
Absolutely.
You know, we tolerated
Beautiful.
certain things that
Yes.
actually broke us apart. You know,
Yes.
so Africa started with Pangaea, then it broke off to little pieces, which today nepotism, tribalism, and
all of them.
hence religion,
Name them.
warfares. So
Yes.
here we are.
Tarek, what do you have to
I,
say?
I think we innately are kind. I really do think.
I still love your optimism.
Right? I know. Some people call it naivety, but
No,
it's okay.
it's beautiful.
But the point is, I think what keeps us, like anybody, you go
Yes.
to the most hardened terrorist.
Yes.
You'll see he's usually a family person,
And he thinks he's doing it
or
for the right reasons.
He thinks he's doing it for the right reasons, but for
Yep.
the very inner circle. Usually they have some sort of kindness and generosity there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel what keeps us from spreading that across the world is simply fear.
Yeah.
Right? It's simply fear. And when we were at the different places and hearing some of the radical views about, put Muslims in a boat and deport them, etc., when we connected with these people, I didn't feel the bigotry as much as I felt the fear.
Correct. It's all coming from
And I
fear.
felt that a lot of them were just kind-hearted people who were just simply afraid. And that's what we need to address.
Yes. You know, it's so funny because today we have in Congress, we have the first Muslim women, Ilhan Omar, we have Rashida Tlaib, and also we have a big majority of Americans who are actually very friendly. I mean, the survey does say that there are Muslims who feel that Americans are generally friendly towards them. It's always a little portion of people that are maybe not enlightened, and, that have gotten rid of that fear that makes them become so prejudiced. So, question to you, Tarek, Mr. Optimism. Do you think we're going to see a Muslim president soon?
I think
Since
that
we're so optimistic.
I think that'll be harder. But
Why?
Well, the thing is, what I really liked is that when people were claiming Barack Obama was a Muslim, and
It
everyone
was not in a positive way, remember?
exactly.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Everyone was saying that. What I really liked was everyone saying, "No, he's not a Muslim. No, he's not a Muslim. No, he's not a
like, oh,
Muslim."
he's not that curse.
As
He's
if
not that bad thing.
As if it's a disease. It was
know.
actually Colin Powell
Yes.
who said, "What if he was?
What if he was?
Don't we want that our little boys that are Muslim have the dream to become president?"
Makes me want
Why
to
not?
cry. Makes me want to cry. You're trying to say a little Muslim child born in this country cannot dream of becoming president someday? You know, Americans, we should ask ourselves this question.
Ask yourself, though, when President Obama was a little boy,
Yes,
would
did
you
you
have
dream?
thought that there would be a black president then?
You know, I didn't dream even when he was
Exactly.
running. I did not think it was
so,
possible.
so
I really didn't
it's
think.
possible as
You know.
well.
That is true. That
It
is true.
happened.
So, I mean, it's tough being Muslim. And we know those sentiments continue to permeate the society. And Muslim immigrants are actually frustrated as well. However, we also have the other side of the coin, the violence towards Muslims. You know, there's the violence towards Muslims. Look at what happened in Norway. And the other day, I think it was Rashida Tlaib was talking about the death threats that she's getting in Congress because she's Muslim and, extremists wanting that kind of violence towards them. So is it then a double standard as far as the labeling is concerned? Tarek?
Yeah, there's definitely a problem and a fear of Muslims.
But why?
Why?
I'm still... Why? Ingrid,
I could venture out just a couple of guesses.
tell me. Because it's happening there, it's also happening on this side.
And this is just from my own personal experience from when I was, born again. The only way to heaven is Jesus, and every other way is hell.
Okay.
So there was
Right.
this guy who was part of this community. I was part of actually here in Southern California. His way of preaching to people on the street, he would grab their hand and put a lighter under it and burn it. And it's like, see, that's what hell's gonna. That's like an infinitesimal part of what hell's gonna feel like.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, that's an
Yes, I
extreme.
understand,
know,
yes.
but just the friends that I had, and then when I moved away from the dogma of it all, just this paralyzing fear that everyone has of damnation.
Correct.
So then if you fear for your life and for your family's life, and you feel like this woman who's covering her hair, or this man who's talking about Allah instead of God is a personal threat for your salvation, then it's just all reason and all compassion and everything just flies out the window.
Tariq, let me ask you, Natalie.
Yes.
How do you think we can begin to destigmatize this? Because this is all still about stigma.
It is about stigma, getting to know each other, discussions like this, the movie, going out and really, walking into people's shoes, as easily said as it is, done. I think a modern Africa per se, we're not the same anymore. There's actually a smaller bridge among, America and Africa. And so just more and more discussions like this.
Okay. Thank you so much for the insightful conversation. We will continue a free trip to Egypt.
Thanks for watching today's video. For more Team TV videos about immigrant lifestyles, click on the subscribe button here below and ring the notification bell so you will be notified when we upload new content. We upload new content every single week. See you next time on Team TV.